all present here. Myself Samana Sirsi. Today I will be talking about topics such as what is a HTTP, what is a Flask application, what is a VS Code, and so on. And lastly, I will be demonstrating the code that I have created using VS Code application. What is HTTP? HTTP is the protocol for websites. The internet uses it to interact and communicate with computers and servers. Let me give you an example of how you use it every day. When you type the name of a website in the address bar of your browser and you hit enter, what happens is that an HTTP request has been sent to a server. For example, when I go to my address bar and type google.com, then hit enter, an HTTP request is sent to a Google server. The Google server receives the request and needs to figure how to interpret that request. The Google server sends back an HTTP response that contains the information that my web browser receives. Then, it displays what you asked for on a page in the browser. What is a Flask application? It is an application which makes the process of designing a web application simpler. A web application or a web app is the application software that runs on a web server, unlike computer-based software programs that are run locally on the operating system of the device. A web framework or web application framework is a software framework that is designed to support the development of web applications. Flask lets us focus on what the users are requesting and what sort of response to give back. The code lets us run a basic web application that we can serve as if it were a website. The micro in micro framework means that the Flask aims to keep the code simple but extensible. What is a Visual Studio Code? Visual Studio Code, famously known as VS Code, is a free open source text editor by Microsoft. VS Code is available for Windows, Linux and Mac OS. Although the editor is relatively lightweight, meaning it is a computer program that is designed to have a small RAM usage and low CPU usage, overall a low usage of system resources. It includes some powerful features that have made VS Code one of the most popular development environment tools in recent times. VS Code supports a wide array of programming languages from Java, C++, and Python to CSS, Go, and Docker files. VS Code allows you to add on and even create new extensions including code linters, debuggers, and cloud and web development support. The VS Code user interface allows for a lot of interaction compared to other text editors. In the VS Code, app.py is used for doing the calculations. Index.html is used for showing the whole code in the user interface. User interface or UI is the space where interactions between humans and machines occur, and the results are displayed through results.html. The application which I have created using Visual Studio Code is an application that calculates the area and perimeter of different figures such as a rectangle, a square, and a triangle. I have named the application as Area and Perimeter Calculator. This code works with the help of a web application. As you can see here, in this line, I have named the application as Area and Perimeter Calculator. In this line of code, I have labeled the operation as choose a figure. Here, I have named each operation as area of a rectangle, area of a square, area of triangle, perimeter of rectangle, and perimeter of square. Here I have given two variable inputs, first variable as num1 and the second variable as num2. I have labeled the first variable as length and the second variable as breadth for our convenience. The app.py is used for doing all the calculations. Here, for the two variables num1 and num2, I have given the input as an integer value. So here, in the if operation, If the user chooses the operation to be area of rectangle, r, which we have taken as a variable, will be equal to num1 into num2, also length into breadth. So the result will be printed as the area of a rectangle is the value of r plus square units. The same way, if the user chooses their operation to be area of square, the r would be num1 into num1, or length into length. So the result would be printed as the area of square plus the value of r plus square units. The same way, if the user chooses their operation to be area of triangle, the formula would be half into num1, num2 into num1, or half into base into height. The result would be printed as the area of a triangle is the value of r plus square units. If the user selects their operation to be perimeter of rectangle, then the formula would be 2 into num1 plus num2, or 2 into L plus B. The result would be printed as the perimeter of a rectangle is the value of r plus units. If the operation selected by the user is the perimeter of square, then the formula would be 4 into num1, or 4L. So the result would be printed as the perimeter of a square is the value of r plus units. This last line of code here helps in running the code through result.html. Here in the result.html, this line here which says the header is equal to the calculation result means that in the page where the final result is shown, the title would be calculation result. So let us run the code. Now I have run the code, and this is the page where you calculate the results of your program. It runs on HTTP 127.0.0.1:5000 server. As you can see here, the name of this program is Area and Perimeter Calculator, and the label for the operation is Choose a Figure, as we had defined it in the index.html. Here is a drop down arrow, and you can select the operation which you want. First, I am going to be calculating the area of rectangle. I'll select my length as 70 and my breadth as 40, and I'll click on calculate. As you can see, in this page, the header is calculation result as we had defined it in the result.html. And the result for this operation is the area of a rectangle is 2800 square units. Now I'll be selecting my operation as area of triangle. I'll be giving the values of my length as 40 and my breadth as 80 respectively. Then I'll click on calculate, and as you can see, the result for this operation is the area of a triangle is 1600 square units. Now I'll be calculating the perimeter of a rectangle. I'll give the value of my length as 50 and the breadth also as 50. Then I'll click on calculate. As you can see, the perimeter of a rectangle is 200 square units. Not only this, but you can also use this program to calculate the area, perimeter, and volume of various 2D and 3D figures. Thank you.